Yes,
Muhammad Al-Wadi.
Yes.
Muhammad, if you are with us, you can ask Dr. LeCun directly. Muhammad.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, yes.
Okay, yeah, Yann, I'm very happy to see you live. My question is a recurring one. It's about how the spark of intelligence occurred suddenly in a system that's only conceived to predict the next word. It's based on language, yet at the same time, we have the impression it's exhibiting a real intelligence at times, and it's baffling. I was wondering whether you had an explanation on when and how that happened. And
okay. Sure. There is only 2 or 3 domains where LLMs exhibit sort of baffling intelligence, if you want.
Yes.
And those are computer code generation, mathematics, and perhaps law. Okay, so legal text and things like that. And the reason is these are domains, at least for the first 2 certainly, where the language itself is a kind of substrate for reasoning, right? When we do mathematics, the simple manipulation of symbols gives us sometimes results that we did not expect, right? So the reasoning can be basically supported by the language itself. And there's a similar phenomenon when you write code, where you may have some idea about how to organize the code, but when you start writing it, it kind of crystallizes, and the simple fact that you're writing the code sort of makes your concepts clearer in many ways, at least if you're a good computer scientist. So you can imagine that for those 2 domains, manipulating symbols, which is what LLMs do, can help with reasoning. And in fact, the way those systems do math and code is that they generate lots and lots of different sequences of symbols. And then they have another network that kind of selects the best ones. And if it's code generation, you can just test whether the code works and then iterate, right, which is what code generation takes so long. If it's mathematics, you arrive at a result and, you can try to prove it, right? You can you can verify is a result, is true or not, with perhaps numerical examples or something like that. So those are 2 domains where there is self-adjustment because you can verify if an answer is correct or not. And the reasoning substrate is the language itself. Most of human reasoning and intelligence has nothing to do with language. Okay, it has to do with our experience of the real world, but it's not language bound, or it's not even helped by language. So, and it's certainly true of animals, right? They don't have language, at least not to the same extent. So, okay, so that's only a partial answer to your question. So the type of intelligence that we observe in LLMs is very narrow, is very restricted. And the reason why they seem to be intelligent by answering all the questions we ask them is a bit of an illusion. They basically do retrieval. Okay, so those systems are not particularly intelligent, but they are extremely good at accumulating enormous amounts of knowledge and then regurgitating that knowledge at the right time and maybe adapting it in minor ways. Okay, but they're not that smart. In fact, they give you really stupid answers sometimes, right? There is a story that has circulated recently on social networks where someone said, okay, I need to wash my car. I need to get my car washed. And the car wash place is 100 meters from my house. Should I walk? And most LLMs, ChatGPT, the latest one, Claude, all of those, Meta AI, they say, no, you should, yes, you should walk because it's only 100 meters away. Like not realizing you're not going to have your car with you. Okay. The only one that answers correctly is Gemini from Google. But it's very likely that the reason it answers correctly is because in the last few weeks, it was fine-tuned with the correct answer. It was tuned, to detect that question and answer it correctly. I was made fun of in the past year or two because on an interview with Lex Friedman, a pretty popular podcast, I said, look, LLMs don't have any physical intuition. If you put an object on the table and you push the table, the object will move with the table, right? That's kind of completely obvious physical intuition. But if you ask, ChatGPT or one of its successor, it's not going to be able to, understand the physical reality behind this and make the right prediction. And of course, 6 months later, so if you ask a question to ChatGPT at that time, it would not answer correctly. But if you ask the next version of ChatGPT, it did answer correctly. And the reason is it's not that it understood physical reality any better. It's that it was explicitly fine-tuned to answer that particular question, because as soon as the podcast was published, hundreds of people actually asked the question to ChatGPT to verify the answer was incorrect. And so that became part of the training set now. And OpenAI integrated that question in the fine-tuning set. And of course, any particular question that you ask an AI system, you can fine-tune it to answer it correctly. But it's retrieval. It's like those students you have in your class that, do rote learning, but don't really have a deep understanding of the underlying mathematics, right?
All right. Thank you.